What if the reason many women over 60 stop seeing themselves as attractive has nothing to do with how they actually look and everything to do with what they were taught to notice? What if the signs that you are a good-looking older woman don't show up in mirrors, compliments, or photos, but in quieter reactions that most people overlook? There's a mystery here, because across the United States, millions of women past 65 underestimate how they're perceived by others. And the clues start early, long before wrinkles or gray hair ever appear. Something important has been missing from the conversation, and once you recognize it, you can't unsee it. For decades, beauty research focused on youth markers: symmetry, smooth skin, body ratios. But as aging science expanded in the late 1990s and early 2000s, researchers like Dr. Laura Carstensen at Stanford began documenting a shift in how attractiveness is perceived later in life. At the same time, data from the National Social Life, Health, and Aging Project showed that adults over 65 often received more positive social responses than they expected, especially women. The surprise wasn't that they were still noticed. It was that they didn't realize why. The reasons weren't cosmetic. They were behavioral, emotional, and deeply tied to long-term patterns. To understand how this happens, you have to go back to early adulthood. In their 20s and 30s, most women absorb a narrow definition of attractiveness shaped by media, peers, and workplace norms. According to U.S. consumer and media surveys, women in early adulthood spend significantly more mental energy evaluating appearance than behavior. This creates a habit, judging attractiveness by external approval. The cause and effect chain begins here. Women who tie self-worth to visible validation often miss other signals that later become far more powerful. Those who quietly develop confidence in how they move, speak, and respond lay the groundwork for a different kind of beauty that matures with age. Then the 40s arrive, and changes begin quietly. Hormones shift, stress increases. According to the American Psychological Association, women in their 40s report peak stress levels, often balancing work, caregiving, and family demands. During this time, many women turn their attention outward, minimizing their own presence. But here's the twist most never hear. This decade also strengthens emotional regulation and social perception. Studies show that women begin reading social cues more accurately in midlife. Those who trust this internal clarity rather than chasing outdated beauty standards start radiating a calm assurance. It's subtle, but it's noticed by others long before the woman herself recognizes it. After 65, a major shift occurs that most women completely ignore. Neurological research from the National Institute on Aging shows that older adults process faces and expressions differently. Warmth, steadiness, and authenticity become more attractive than novelty. Men and women alike respond more strongly to presence than polish. Yet many women over 65 assume they've become invisible. This assumption is powerful and wrong. In reality, surveys show that older women are often perceived as more approachable, trustworthy, and elegant than younger women. The problem is not how they're seen, it's how they see themselves. The breaking point usually comes with a moment of contrast. A woman notices she's still being looked at, listened to, or sought out, but she doesn't understand why. Or she compares herself to younger versions of herself and feels loss instead of continuity. This is when the disconnect becomes visible. According to the Health and Retirement Study, self-perception of attractiveness drops sharply after 65, even as social engagement often remains stable. The mind hasn't updated its definition of beauty, even though the body and behavior have evolved. The fallout of this misunderstanding can affect health, money, and lifestyle. Women who underestimate their attractiveness are more likely to withdraw socially, decline opportunities, and tolerate poor treatment. Social withdrawal increases loneliness, which the CDC links to higher risks of heart disease and cognitive decline. Financially, lowered self-worth can affect negotiation, decision-making, and vulnerability. Lifestyle narrows not because options disappear, but because confidence quietly erodes. Across millions of seniors, the same pattern repeats. When women stop recognizing their own appeal, their world shrinks unnecessarily. So, what are the 7 clear signs you're a good-looking older woman, even if you don't realize it? The first is sustained eye contact from others, especially strangers, without discomfort. The second is people opening up to you quickly, which research links to perceived warmth and trust. The third is being remembered easily. People recall your presence more than details about you. The fourth is unsolicited respect. Others ask your opinion without prompting. The fifth is ease in social spaces. Conversations flow without effort. The sixth is positive treatment across settings, from service interactions to professional environments. And the seventh is internal calm, feeling at home in your body, which others sense immediately. These signs are consistent across aging studies and repeat across millions of American women. Many women try failed fixes because of old advice. They chase youth through extreme diets, heavy makeup, or constant self-correction. But research shows these efforts often backfire, increasing self-consciousness and reducing natural expressiveness. Attractiveness after 65 is amplified by ease, not effort. The qualities that matter now cannot be applied, they must be allowed. So what can you do today? First, observe reactions instead of reflections. Pay attention to how people respond to you, not how you judge yourself in the mirror. Second, reduce one appearance-based habit driven by insecurity and replace it with a posture or movement that feels natural. Studies show embodied confidence changes perception immediately. Third, engage socially once this week without performing. No apologizing, no explaining. Let presence speak. Here's the warning: grounded in evidence. Constant self-criticism accelerates social withdrawal and emotional stress, even when appearance is objectively appealing. Be careful what narrative you repeat internally. And here's the open thought to hold until the next video. If attractiveness evolves with age rather than disappears, what parts of yourself might you finally be ready to see clearly? If you want the next chapter where we explore how older women quietly influence rooms without trying, subscribe and turn on notifications. There's more to uncover.